Otherwise, keep doing exactly what you're doing right now, and you know what I'm talking about, and then, we'll do it for you.
Ezra Miller, the American actor known for Perks of Being a Wallflower and the Harry Potter spin-off series Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, has been in some hot water lately for seemingly confronting patrons at a karaoke bar. The confrontation quickly turned physical, and now they've been arrested and charged. This isn't the first time Ezra has gotten physical with someone, as in 2020, a since-deleted tweet of a video showcasing an altercation between them and an unknown woman. Ezra's aggression streak may now finally have some real-world consequences, as they are the subject of a restraining order, and potentially they may lose some jobs in upcoming projects. Ezra was born in New Jersey and has 2 older sisters. They came from wealth, with their mother being a successful dancer, not that kind of dancer, and their father being a managing director of Hyperion Books, which is the publishing company for Walt Disney. Miller's father was also a publisher at Workman Publishing, which, at the time, was one of the largest book publishers in the world. When Ezra was 6 years old, they began training as an opera singer to overcome a speech impediment that they were struggling with. Due to this opera training, they became actually pretty popular in the scene, singing for the Metropolitan Opera and performing in the American premiere of Philip Glass's opera White Raven. By the time they were a teenager, their success meant that they decided to drop out of high school at only 16 years old to pursue a professional career. Their first film was called After School, and I think due to their familial connections, Ezra was pretty much immediately in some heavy-hitter movies, going on to the BBC's We Need to Talk About Kevin and Perks of Being a Wallflower. In 2016, they entered into the Harry Potter franchise with their very successful spin-off series Fantastic Beasts. They star as Credence Barebone in the first 2 movies, and are set to reprise the role in the newest Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, which is set to be released this month. On top of Harry Potter, Miller also plays Barry Allen in various DC Comics adaptations. First, they had cameos in Batman vs. Superman, and continued on as one of the leads in Justice League. There's also going to be a standalone movie called The Flash that they will obviously star in, that's going to come out in 2023. As for their personal life, they came out as queer in 2012, but said that they don't use that label for themselves. Quote, "Queer just means no, I don't do that. I don't identify as a man, I don't identify as a woman, I barely identify as a human." In a 2020 GQ magazine interview, they stated they used they/them pronouns because it was a, quote, "pointed refusal to be gendered." They also stated that they're not particularly attracted to one gender over the other, and that they love everyone with 0 barriers in the way of gender identity. In 2010, notably, they dated Zoe Kravitz while they were filming a movie together, but it didn't last very long. Now, let's get into the list of scandals that Ezra seems to continually find himself in. In 2011, while filming The Perks of Being a Wallflower in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Ezra and a friend were pulled over for a broken brake light. The police found that Miller was in possession of 20 grams of that good. Initially, they were going to be charged, but the charges themselves were later dropped by a judge. Instead, they faced a penalty of $600 for 2 citations for disorderly conduct. On the incident, Ezra stated, quote, "I don't feel like there's any need to hide the fact that I smoke. It's a harmless herbal substance that increases sensory appreciation. I personally don't really think this incident is that much of a big deal, especially up here in Canada where it's perfectly legal, but it's worth noting, I guess." But anyways, fast forward to 2020, and now we're starting to see some actually messed behavior on Ezra's part. A video surfacing on Twitter that has been since deleted of the actor appearing to harm a woman and throw her to the ground. The video was confirmed to have taken place in a bar that Ezra frequents in Iceland. An employee of the establishment said that Ezra was escorted off of the premises after it happened. Now, while this is the first incident we've seen of Ezra's involvement in the harm of someone else, and it hasn't really been spoken about, I do think that it is pretty telling that the next few, and this one, all take place in spaces where alcohol is present. I'm not sure if there's someone who gets particularly angry when they're drunk, but it can't be a coincidence that this is all going down in spaces where drinking is prevalent. I wonder if some more substance-related issues are at the root cause. Couple that with a diva personality and you get someone who seems to lash out at randoms pretty frequently. Now, our next incident with Ezra wouldn't be until January 2020. They posted a video to their Instagram ranting and threatening members of the white hooded racial group, you know the one, that they thought were residing in a small town in North Carolina. This super bizarre video is very interesting because later, the Southern Poverty Law Center reported that they had no knowledge of a Klan even residing in that town at all. Basically, everyone was super confused as to why Ezra would go off like that over pretty much nothing. And now, in March 2020, Ezra was arrested in Hawaii following a physical confrontation with some patrons at a karaoke bar. A Hawaiian judge granted the couple's request for a temporary restraining order against the actor. Days before the incident that required the restraining order, Miller reportedly screamed at patrons of a karaoke bar in a place called Margarita Village. They grabbed a mic from a singing woman and lunged at a man playing darts. The police report of the incident states, quote, "The bar owner asked Miller to calm down several times to no avail." Ezra was arrested at the bar shortly after midnight and charged with disorderly conduct and aggression, but was released on bail. And then, a few days after that incident, a couple were singing at the bar said that Ezra had broken into their hotel room. Apparently, he was agitated by their singing and yelled obscenities at them. After they were kicked out of the bar, they somehow broke into the couple's room and reportedly stole passports, ID cards, a bunch of cash, and a wallet. Due to the break-in, the judge granted the couple a temporary restraining order against the actor, who has a court hearing later on in April for his actions at the bar. There are still a few questions that I, and I'm sure you as well, have. Like, how did Miller know which room the couple were staying in? Was drinking involved? I'm not quite sure, especially given how new this case is, and also how ongoing this case is. It'll only be revealed with time, but for now I don't really have any of the details. What we do know though is that Ezra is staying completely silent about the whole thing. So far they've denied to comment on anything involved with the situation and have not spoken to the press either. Something interesting to note though is that this isn't the first time that the police have been called for action involving the actor in Hawaii recently. In fact, officers say that they have been contacted 10 times. Yeah, 10 times over the last 3.5 weeks over minor incidences reportedly committed by the actor. They include filming people at a gas station, refusing to leave the sidewalk area of a restaurant, and arguing with random people. It's not even clear how long Ezra has been staying on the island. The actor is understood to have been staying at a hostel in the town and having been friendly with fans, according to the hostel owner. Seems like that bubble may have burst though. I don't know, from the outside looking in, it all seems like a rich kid who is having sort of a diva-related meltdown. One viral tweet made fun of the incident with the caption, quote, "POV, you're at a karaoke bar about to start singing when you see Ezra Miller in the crowd." Another person tweeted, quote, "Leaving Ezra Miller and Jared Leto in the same room together for an hour and see what happens. Subscribe for updates." Jared Leto is, of course, another famous weirdo who's known almost more for his shenanigans than he is for his movies.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it.
Andrew Tate is a well-known British-American online personality and former famous kickboxer. Most recently, he's found himself at the forefront of additional online controversy from his messy beef with formerly problematic TikTok star Jake Paul. Andrew has continuously called out the YouTuber to fight on numerous occasions over the last 2 years, and the latest and greatest reports now claim that Jake is targeting their rivalry head-on, and Andrew has finally responded to this. But before we get into all of that, let's rewind a bit. Andrew Tate was born in Washington, D.C. on December 14, 1986, currently making him 35 years old. Andrew's first step into popularity came about from his 2016 removal from the 17th season of the Big Brother series after a video revealed Andrew apparently mishandling a lady. Aside from Tate stating that the two acts were quote mutual, he was still eventually booted off the show. The names of his mother and father are still unknown, as well as his marital status, as Andrew seems to prefer keeping the majority of his life private. However, one thing he has not kept very quiet about is his past, which is filled to the brim with contentious issues and has garnered loads of attention to this day. His old tweets in particular seem to be the root of his more recent problems, as they certainly outlined his definition of harassment following the Harvey Weinstein essay trials. This wouldn't be the first time Andrew publicly supported the acts of essay either. He had previously issued several more tweets remarking his beliefs that essay victims should be the ones who bear the blame for their attacks. In light of these exposures, Andrew's Twitter accounts had gone under suspension on various occasions, but in 2021 the platform confirmed that Andrew supposedly created a new account to bypass his earlier suspension, which violated the social media site's policies. The account in question looked to be a part of Bugatti marketing and was later permanently removed from the app, with Twitter stating that the original verification was done by mistake. On the other side of this semi-recent beef is popular YouTuber Jake Paul. His once active Vine content landed him with an opportunity to work alongside Disney for their channel prior to the video sharing and content creating app being deleted. Jake was given the title of being the first social media star to be in Disney Channel's main cast, but despite this, his fast path to success often had Jake running into numerous issues, as he would often move on to get in loads of trouble. In the past few years, Jake has been at the core of controversies, and fairly enough given his past, people's mutual dislike for him or legitimate reasons to hate him can most definitely be deemed valid. Jake was born in Cleveland, Ohio on January 17, 1997. His famed titles are that of an actor and producer, known best for his 2016 work on Airplane Mode, his Bizarre Vark role in 2016, and being a part of music video Sins in 2015. His marriage to social media influencer Tana Mongeau has been active since July 2019. Jake is best known for not being the most sensitive when it comes to problematic issues, and has done everything from disputable YouTube videos and topics of discussion on his channel to using racial slurs heavily. He's also been exposed by his past relationships and lost more than half of his platform following, and he's only 25. Additionally, Jake is the second half of the popular sibling duo alongside his older brother Logan Paul. Now, remember when I told you about Andrew Tate's response to the prospect of a fight with Jake Paul? Here's how it pertains to what we've learned so far. Originally, the youngest brother of the Paul Bros duo had plans to call out Andrew for a match, which we later learned he did. But did you know that he had been previously beaten to the call out by his older brother Logan, who went 8 rounds in the ring last with Floyd Mayweather? Logan has made it clear he still plans to fight Andrew, even though Jake has already insisted on targeting a fight with the controversial former world kickboxing champion. Again, Andrew exploded in mainstream popularity over the past few months due to his sexist and misogynistic views of women, which has curated quite the following on the social media creation platform TikTok. Andrew's first offer to get in the ring with Jake was appointed at $3 million. However, Logan cut right to the chase with his offer when he confirmed he'll be returning to the ring in the winter, and Andrew has not ruled out fighting again since. In comments made regarding Andrew, Logan went on to speak with a friend in a vlog where he described Andrew to be a washed up fighter who will be irrelevant by 2023 unless he takes on someone who, quote, made Floyd Mayweather look average. If you're not already getting the indirectness here, Logan is indeed referring to himself. Yeesh, talk about an ego. Logan's influencer boxing credits stem from his forefront media attraction from the time he took on British star KSI for 2 consecutive years between 2018 and 2019. The first match between the influencer friends was held in Manchester as a draw, and the rematch was located in Los Angeles where KSI outpointed Logan and was said to be staged as a professional bout. Nevertheless, it was actually his younger brother Jake who moved on to establish a professional career. In his time, Jake has won 5 fights in the time span of 2.5 years, wrapping up his dubs with a brutal knockout of Tyrone Woodley during their previous year's rematch. Following this, Jake was meant to enter the ring in New York next with Hasim Rahman Jr., but this match was cancelled on Jake's end a week before the fight. Both parties have disclosed the reasons why they feel the match needs to not go down, which range from weight limit disputes to fear of stepping into the ring with their opponent. Be that as it may, despite Logan beating Jake to the punch to fight Andrew initially, it seems Jake is the one Andrew is actually ready to square up with. This mega money boxing clash is being highly anticipated following Andrew finally directly speaking out on his opinions regarding Jake. So, it's more than safe to agree that on this list of highly prolific names in the boxing world, Andrew is at the top of Jake's list, and possibly now vice versa. In his 87 fights to date, Andrew has gone on to state that he's only taken 9 losses as a kickboxer, and his wins to his names include the apparent rib-breaking of former UFC contender Luke Burnett. Drama Alert reports details how Jake was merely targeting a fight with Andrew and had plans to send him a message through Logan's podcast, but a spokesperson of Andrew denied this occurrence taking place, explaining how there have been no productive talks with Jake's team regarding a match between Jake and Andrew. The same source also detailed, quote, "We are aware that due to the rise in Andrew's popularity, it's a fight the world wants to see. However, at this moment in time, there is nothing to report. We have also become aware that Jake Paul and his team intend to call Andrew out via a collection of videos. However, as stated before, there has been no official talks regarding a fight. Andrew has also attracted a newer type of fan base of people seeking signups for his Hustlers University scheme, which persuades people to make money. Andrew first called Jake out in a 2-year-old video, offering $3 million to stage the fight when Jake was first making a name for himself in the ring. Most recently, Andrew has reiterated his desire to get Jake in the ring with him, and is uber confident he'd come out on top in that scenario. Andrew's current residency is somewhere in Romania. He spoke on the Fellows podcast back in June of this year to explain why he chose to relocate to Europe, saying, "There's something that very much angers me about the Western world. I don't feel comfortable here. I don't like the way it functions and operates. It's the most corrupt, disgusting, degrading society on earth. There's nothing left besides money and corporate agenda. I like living in countries where there's some kind of moral fiber beyond the dollar. I like living in countries where corruption is accessible for everybody." He continued his point by detailing how he gave himself the option to remain in a society where his status isn't under obligation to any of the laws he disagrees with. Andrew also briefly opened up about Jake on this podcast as well. For this, he stated, quote, "I don't dislike him. I understand him, but I want to make something clear. I would still kick the living F out of Jake Paul. I'm not some washed up UFC fighter, and I'm not smaller than him. I would beat the living ish out of him, and if he wants to fight, I'll fight him any day of the effing week." When Andrew began discussing what he assumed Jake's angle was, he mentioned he's very smart with his "I'm just a YouTuber" angle. You're a full-grown man with the best coaches in the world who has dedicated years to learning how to box. This guy's not a jackass, and the fact that he puts this spin on it is very smart.